Hello, and welcome to today's show of Created to Write. Today, I have with me the lovely Christine Dillon. Welcome to the show, Christine.
Delighted to be here.
Awesome. Now, you write books. You've written several books. Would you like to tell us a little bit about why, what made you want to write to start with, and what you write?
I started with non-fiction, and I really started because I was lazy. People kept asking me, because I'm a trainer in evangelism and discipleship, they kept saying, not coming to the courses and then trying to get over a meal, sort of all the information, 35-hour course down into 2 hours over a meal. So I thought, look, I'm just going to write it down. So I wrote a book on discipleship. It was really to be just a PDF, just to help people say, go and read that and then come and ask questions. But it ended up being traditionally published by a Scottish publisher. And that was really the start. So I did two non-fictions, one on Bible storytelling and evangelism for my second book. And that I really thought that was all I was going to do. Maybe as a child, if I was going to write anything, it would have been biography because I loved reading biography, but so far I haven't done that. I then went on and wrote six contemporary Christian fiction, Australian based, and then I'm now writing Old Testament era novels, and I've just published my fifth one in that series.
Awesome. Well done. Congratulations. So, do you have a writing routine, or what does that look like for you?
Well, I work full time for a missionary organization. So I've been a missionary overseas for 22 years and then back here. So I still work full time. So it's more a routine for the year.
Mm.
So with the Old Testament is probably the easiest. So I do the biblical research first and and then all of the research that comes off that. So you do the Bible first, and then you've got to look up the towns and cities that you're going to write about, the geography, all of that sort of thing, what they were eating, how did they, whatever.
Everything.
And then I sort of do a 40 cards. I put them in 4 rows of 10, and I put all the ideas for the chapters. And then once I've done that plan, then I start writing.
Mm.
And I try and get the first draft done as fast as possible. It takes me at least probably 10 to 12 weeks of pretty hard work. So it's
Mm.
squeezed in all the holes. And then it's editing, goes to a first editor, then I respond to her, then it goes to a second editor, respond to her, and then to proofreaders. So it's about a 10-month cycle for me
Hmm.
for a novel.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And that sounds intense to me.
it
All
is
that
quite intense.
research.
Well, the research is my favorite part by far
Yeah.
because you're just in the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you enjoy that part. Awesome. And what's the hardest thing you find about being a writer?
Oh, just writing.
Just the
I'm
writing
not
part.
that keen on doing the writing. So I really was very reluctant to do fiction, didn't think I would ever write a novel. And I would not have done it unless God forced me to do it. And he forced me, and it was kicking and screaming. And in fact, he gave me the idea for two novels, and it was like a download, the title and the concept.
Hmm.
Um, and I said, no, Lord, and then thought, oh, you're not allowed no and Lord in the same conversation. The
Apparently
same.
not.
So then I said, oh, well, if it really was you, you'll have to force me to do it and you'll have to give me the ability to do it because I can't do that. And so
Hmm.
it's left me alone for about 5 years. And then I was sitting reading Francine novel, Rivers' biblical novels, The Sons of Encouragement. And clear as anything, that's how you do it. You're a Bible storyteller, sit down and put your bottom on the seat, and you write a biblical era novel. So I did, that was my practice. And then I got to the real thing, which the idea was Grace in Strange Disguise, the first novel.
Hmm. Awesome. And are you part of any writing communities at the moment?
I have three other Australian authors that we just sort of encourage each other and we brainstorm ideas. And one of them has been my editor and one is my editor. Um, I also am part of the Christian Indie Authors, the CIA.
Hmm.
which is mostly American, but they're quite helpful. That's for asking questions like, I tried this marketing strategy and it was a disaster. What would you suggest? That kind of
Hmm.
question. And then the Australian ones, the Australasian Christian Writers and the Christian Writers Down Under. So they're all Facebook groups and they're very helpful.
Yeah. So, what would you say the most important part of those, of being part of those groups is?
Being able to ask a question. So it could be something like, ah, I've painted myself into a corner with this idea and
Mm.
ideas. So I might ask someone that, or with those online groups, because they're more general, I will tend to ask things like, or share my BookBub featured deal results,
Hmm.
a promotion, and is this normal? It was really low, or I was pleased with it, that sort of thing.
Very cool. So, what are you looking forward to or most excited about in the future?
Well, I do hope I'm going to write some biographies. I've
Mm.
been asked a couple of times by my organization, so I'm thinking about that. It's just finding the right person, because if you're going to spend a long time, you've got to have enough information to write about them, and that would be a lot more research and interviewing people and looking at old letters and things. So that would probably suit me very well, actually. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about the thought of it. I haven't started it yet.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty excited about book 6 in my Old Testament series because it was one of the original ideas I had for the series.
Hmm.
And it'll be a novel about the Philistines and the capture of the ark in 1 Samuel.
So, you haven't started it yet, or
I have written 300 words.
you've started?
I've done the research. I know
Uh-huh.
the basic whole story arc, and I
Yes.
haven't quite done the 40 cards yet. So, but I know what I'm going to put on a lot of the chapters.
So, why do you do 40 cards?
Ah, because a book has for a book to be successful, it has to have a couple of turning points,
Mhm.
which are at 25%, 50%, and 75. So they're basically three crises. And my writing style seems to be about 40 chapters long. So it's 4 lots of 10. And so I know that the crises have to be
Mm.
on the 10th, the 20th, and the 30th chapter. It just seems to suit
Good
what I do.
system.
Yeah.
Did you create that system yourself, or did you hear from it from someone
Oh, I
else?
don't know. I sort of did, I guess. It works well because if say you've got two different characters, you would put two different
Hmm.
color cards, so that you could see green and pink really easily.
Yeah.
And then you could go, oh dear, I've done 5 chapters in a row of my female character, and that's not what I should be switching back and forward a bit more than that. So
Mm-hmm.
it visually really quickly shows you the structure.
True. Sounds like a good idea. I might try that. Maybe.
And you can even so as you're going, you're sort of crossing it off, or you're taking the cards away. So it's
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
feedback. Yeah,
You
I'm
see
getting
how
there.
far through you are. Yeah, I might try that. That sounds like fun. I just
And
write
you
by the
want to
seat of
be
my
at your
pants.
25%. I write about 75,000 words. So I know, okay, I've reached this point, a quarter of
Mm.
the way. Well, I should be a quarter of the way. Am I?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'm just dragging a bit, or I've rushed it too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me today, Christine. And do you have any tips for newbie writers, wannabe writers, people who are scared to put pen to paper or fingers to computer?
I think I would suggest, if you're writing a novel, I would suggest reading someone like, I think it's Randy Ingerman, The Snowflake Method. So starting with something, I started with that before I knew what I was doing. That's just sort of helping you to go from a sentence concept up to your
Mm.
characters and everything. And he's got a 10-step method. I think that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Having someone to keep you accountable and ask how you're going. So maybe someone else that's wanting to write, and the two of you sort of help each other. And then really working on networking in your genre. So whatever genre you're writing, if it's mystery or whatever, you start reading a lot in that genre, but also beginning to get to know those authors and people that are sort of able to help you along the way. So any
Mm-hmm.
of those ideas. Don't
Great.
just battle on your own. It's just not worth it.
So true. We were never meant to be islands. We were always meant for community in
Mhm.
some way.
Yeah.
Thank you for those tips. They are very helpful tips. And if you are thinking about writing a book, start today. And if you've started, keep going. Don't give up. So thank you for joining us today. And I will drop Christine's details below so you can go follow her. Please join us again for the next Created to Write show.
Thank you very much.